All right. So I want to welcome everyone tonight. This is the first recorded webinar that the PTA Caucus is putting on this year, and the theme for tonight will be PTA engagement, starting as a student and moving on to a new professional. And for this, we are going to have two guests that I will introduce here in a second. But before I get to that, I want to introduce Jimmy Piscini, who is the PTA Caucus rep from California. He is going to be with me asking questions tonight of our two guests. Our first guest is Matt Grattan, a PTA from Indiana. And our second is Jared Evans, a PTA in the state of Kentucky. First off, Matt, would you care to introduce yourself and just kind of let us know how you ended up getting into this profession and why you chose PTA?
Okay, yeah, my name is Matthew Grattan. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was actually a high school band director for 10 years prior to changing careers. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I knew I liked teaching. I knew I liked helping people, and I loved teaching movement. I had been teaching high school marching band since I was 18 years old. I'm not 18 anymore. So I decided, I looked in a book and was like, what can I do movement? What can I do teaching and education? Physical therapy, that is perfect. And I had to sort of see what schools were. I'm a family man. I have 4 kids. I couldn't really move. So it was like, okay, physical therapy, PTA, that's it right there, because there was a program in my town. Did a little bit more research, applied, jumped right in. Got accepted. Once I started taking classes, all the chips started falling into place. I knew it was a career I was going to love and be passionate about, and just started getting involved from there.
Good. Jared, how did you end up in this field?
Well, I was working for the state government here in Kentucky. It's an elected official office, and just kind of got tired and decided I wanted to do something different. And it kind of sounds generic. It's one of those answers that you say and people's like, oh, and they kind of look at you. But, I always knew I wanted to do something to help people, and I just never knew what. And I come to a point in my life to where I had the ability and the opportunity to change careers and take a different path. And my wife was a nurse. I was liking what I was hearing from her, but I decided I wanted to be in the healthcare field. I didn't want to be a nurse, and God bless them and what they do, but I just knew it wasn't for me. So I got to doing some research. I've always been interested in athletics and sports and different things. So when I come across physical therapy, it really caught my eyes, because that's what I associated with initially. And then the more research I did, the more I got to think, oh wow, this is pretty awesome. So I actually contacted the physical therapy place there, a couple local, and said, hey, do you care if I come watch what you guys do? And they welcomed me in, and I went and watched them, and that's really when I fell in love, when I really saw what a physical therapy professional does and what they provide their patients and for their community, and how they help people. That's what really put it to me, and that's when I said, this is what I want to do. I was shadowing. I hadn't applied to a program or anything. I was just shadowing a PT, and he had this guy's arm in his hands, and he had a rotator cuff repair, and you could tell the guy, I mean, it's a painful thing, He's had surgery, and the PT felt circle on the guy's arm, and I looked at the guy and said, so what do you think about all this? What do you think about this guy on your arm? And he looked at me and said, I don't like it. I don't like him one bit, but he sure does help me, and I know I need this. And it was at that moment, and of course I knew what he was saying about not liking it, but it was at that moment when he said, but I know I need it, but I know he's helping me. That's when I really said, this is what I want to do.
Good. Jimmy, you have a question?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you guys for being on and for talking with us tonight. So I was exposed to physical therapy and to the association early on before I ever even got into PT school. And so, once I did get in, I had an idea of what the association was and what it was about based on my exposure from the therapist that I worked with. And so I just want you guys to share, what was your first exposure to APTA and kind of how that happened for you guys. Matt, you can go ahead and go first.
Oh, okay. So being in the band world, being a part of a professional association was just what you did. You didn't really have an option. You sort of had to be there for your students. So coming into school, it was like, okay, this APTA, National Association, okay, great, I'm going to join, without even thinking about it, thinking about the benefits, thinking about the ramifications, thinking about any opportunities that it would have. It was just what I did, because that's what you do. You join your professional association because you're a part of that profession. Fortunately for me, I had a very strong leader as a program director, and she sort of pushed me in the direction of getting involved, suggested that I put my name in for a project committee, and that sort of got the ball rolling. CSM was in Indianapolis, my first year in PTA school, so it was really close, so I got to go down there for that. And then once you start getting involved and start getting into some of the activities, for me especially, you get a little taste, and you just have to have a little bit more, and you got to get more involved, and you got to be around more physical therapists, and just be in the world just even that much more. So it's, for me, it was just, it is always a part of just, this is what you do. This is a part of the profession, a member of this profession. I got to be a part of the professional organization.
And you were able to link that to your previous career, like you said.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Jared, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. Being in Kentucky, there are some PTA programs that are very active in APTA. And my program was just starting to really push APTA membership and being active in that. And, when I started the program, you hear about it and you learn about it, and they talk about being a member and stuff, but as far as the actual being involved and being a part of it, I didn't know about it. But my program director asked me if I would be the KPTA liaison to my program, and I was like, absolutely, So talked to her about what that was and got interested and started doing some research and started talking to her, and they pointed me in some different directions. I started seeing and finding that there were ways for me to be involved. One thing that I did was, as the liaison for my program, I went to a KPTA meeting, and they welcomed me in with open arms and just really seemed very appreciative that as a student I was happy and willing to be there. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that made a large impression on me early on as a student. Experience. And then in looking for ways to be more involved, because that just stirred me up. It really lit a fire in me that people was interested in me as a student. And then there was an association and a profession for my profession that I could be a part of and could help me grow, and I could help the profession grow through the association. So I started doing some research, and I saw where you could be as a student, you could go to House of Delegates and be an usher. And they don't take very many, maybe 9 or 10 people. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. And I thought, hey, what the heck? And I put my application in, and I got accepted. And I believe it was in Charlotte that year. And I went, I got accepted and went down there. And just so happened, I got chosen to be the one person that set up on the platform, up on the Diaz, where everyone, where the leadership sat. And I sat there through that whole House of Delegates. and it was the most amazing experience for me. And I got to watch how the House of Delegates worked from the platform, looking back out at all the delegates. And of course, I just sat in awe and amazement. And the PTA Caucus there, I was introduced to them and to Sean and to Chris and the different ones. And you guys really took me under your wings there and allowed me in and let me see what you guys do. And that just further lit my interest, and I really wanted to be a greater part because I saw the community. But beyond the community, I saw that there was a group there that wanted to better the profession, and they were all interested in doing something for the profession that they loved. And just early on, I said, this is something I want to do, and it's something I can do. And I feel very blessed and lucky that I found those opportunities, and those opportunities allowed me to be linked with people that wanted me to be connected. So that's really my story is I wasn't aware of it, but just because people allowed me to be active, I met more people, and that's the reason I am where I am today.
So kind of dovetailing off of both that, you both talked about national meetings, CSM, and House of Delegates. And Matt, I know you've been to House in a couple different roles, correct?
Yes. Yep.
You went just as a student with Indiana one time, and then you went as a student assembly delegate, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Would you care to talk about those two experiences and what they were like?
Absolutely. For the first year I went to House, it was in Washington, D.C. I actually got selected by the state of Indiana to go to Federal Affairs Forum, which is an opportunity the APTA offers to bring members to Washington, D.C. to speak to your Congress people. So I got selected to be a part of that group. So I went a couple days early because it was sort of dovetailed. It was House of Delegates, Federal Affairs Forum, next conference. So I was there for a week. I went a few days early, stayed a few days late, so I could have a good time, learn as much as I could. I had no idea really what I was walking into with House of Delegates. I knew it was the legislative body of the APTA where policy is set, and I'm a kind of a policy kind of nerd. I like reading politics stuff, so I thought I would be really interested in the whole process. And I have an understanding and a desire to understand just the inner workings of policymaking. So to go and observe as a first-year student sort of how the APTA sets it up, runs a meeting, and is able to do change within the association on a large scale, it interests me a great deal. So I went to the meeting. You sit in the back. So you have all the delegates. There's 400, 500 people sitting in front of you, all speaking in an orderly fashion in the meeting, speaking on policy. And there were a few very large motions that came up that year, one of which passed was the right for states and chapters and sections to allow PTAs to have a full vote. So that was one of the discussion points for my first House. So I got to listen to that discussion, got really interested in the whole policy, even more so. That was actually the meeting where I made the decision that I was going to run for the student PTA delegate for the Student Assembly Board of Directors. So that sort of lit that flame because I knew that was a room that I wanted to be in and play a role in. So that led me down that path. I was fortunate enough to get elected at National Student Conclave the following October. And then, so for the last year, October 15 to October 16, I was the SPTA delegate on the Student Assembly Board of Directors. The first 4 to 6 months of that, you are learning policy. You're learning what's going to come up to the House. If there's anything that you're going to be really passionate about that you want to speak to. So this last House, myself and the SPT delegate, I got the opportunity to work with other delegates to help shape the language on the student debt bill. There was a bill before the APTA that would have the board of directors look at ways to mitigate student debt. And there's a lot of different avenues in which that can take, and depending on the language of the bill will depend on what avenues are taken. So the language is extremely important. So with the House of Delegates, you can really dive into language because one word can mean a whole lot in the direction of a bill. So you really dive in, give an opportunity to work with lots of individuals from all around the country who are also passionate about the APTA, who want to see things done, especially to address student debt for this last House, or for a lot of people to try to get the correct language that would work for everybody involved. I think actually by the time we got through the end, everybody was happy. Everybody sort of had their needs or concerns met, which was outstanding. But it was a lot of work on the floor. But for House of Delegates, that's what it's there for. It's there to be able to create policy that can help move the profession forward. So if you're a person that's really interested in policy, like myself, that's definitely an avenue in which the PTA Caucus plays an active role in, helping shape policy from the PTA perspective. So.
Very good. Matt, what you just said, something that kind of sparked me and made me think of Jared on something. And Jared, in Kentucky, you've been really involved locally and on the chapter level. Can you speak on to some of the newer ideas that you've been engaged in locally on the chapter level?
Yeah, I have kind of went more local, and I really like that. That seems to suit me very well. One big thing we're doing, I'm currently the Kentucky membership committee chair. And one big thing we're doing here in Kentucky is we're creating a contact person in every county. And that person, that point of contact is a volunteer member, and they are going to help us disseminate information out to the counties, and they're also going to help us contact members in our membership to make it a more personal, put it on a more personal level. And that's been one large thing that we've been working on to do, is to really make our membership more personal, instead of just, I'm a member of an association and I never, I hate to use the word benefit, that's not really what I'm talking about, but I never really benefit or see anything from that unless they want money from me, or unless it's a fundraiser or something like that, But one thing we were really working on with these contacts, and it has been a large part of my position, something I'm really pushing, because I believe it needs to be more personal on the local level, not just hey, I'm a member of a large association, but I'm a member of a community of people that are like-minded. So these core contacts in every county that we're trying to establish, let's just say if there's a new member, or let's say, Matt, you renew your membership. This person in your county will call you or send you a letter and say, hey, Matt, we really appreciate that you have renewed your membership, and we just want to let you know, thank you. And I'm in your area, and I'm your contact, and if you ever need information, or you ever need to be put in contact with someone, or you have ideas to better the association, you let me know, and I'm here for you, and here's my information. And I think that can totally change the dynamic of the local, the idea of a local membership. I think that these, sometimes people do these pub meetings, or they meet every third Tuesday or third Thursday or something like that in the district, and I think that's good too. We need more of those things. But, imagine being a student and you graduated, and after you graduate, you make that decision to invest your own money into remaining a member of your association. Next month, you get a card or you get a phone call and it says, hey, man, I'm in your county. I know you're a new professional, and I've been in this a while. If you need anything, any advice, any help, any tips, or just want to talk about something, I'm here for you. And by the way, thanks for renewing your membership. We really appreciate it. That's just amazing, the personal level that goes on. And that will really do something for our membership and really make that connection that when people, it's time again for people to renew, because that's what we are. Without members, we are not an association. We have to have our members, and our members live on the local level. Not everyone, and I'm somewhat interested in policy, but not everyone is interested in things like myself and you are, Sean, or Matt, like you. Some people just aren't interested, but we still have to make them feel like they're a part. And that's been one large push we've been working on here locally in our area.
Yeah, so can you elaborate, either one of you, what type of opportunities are there for the PTA member who's not interested in running for a position that any of us hold right now, or being involved in the governance and committees and all of that? What type of opportunities, what do you guys tell people that there are, the opportunities that are available for those people?
Well, I'll go ahead and jump out there if you don't care, just because I just talked about opportunities on the local level. And people aren't interested. Not every PTA wants to be a part of the PTA Caucus. And that's fine. We don't need everybody to do that. And when I'm talking to people about being involved, a lot of times I just tell people, hey, if you think you want to be involved, you tell me. You let us know, and we will find something for you to do. There is always a phone call. And I hate to say it like that, but, just getting that person's attention and then letting them know, hey, there is something for you to do. Of course, I'm letting people know right now about this core contact person in every county. But, there is always people needed to do small tasks. And that's something that I learned early on, is that it's all about micro tasks and giving people, just give them something to do. I will create you something to do if you're interested in doing something. And that's a really generic answer, and I hate to say that because there are a lot of stuff. You can set up a booth. You can be part. You can go to Special Olympics. You can do stuff here. You can, there are lots of things you can do. But if you can talk to someone and let them know, hey, I got 2 kids, and yeah, I do this, but man, I still have a little bit of time to help with my professional association. Is that something you think you'd be interested in? I've really found it worthwhile. What do you like? And find out what they like. And it's all about getting on that personal level. And when you find out about that person, when you listen to them, and if you find out they might want to do something, find a way to plug them in. And that's what it takes, people willing to find a way to plug that person in. I know that's a answer, but this is kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I completely agree, Jared. Really for me, it's finding out what a person's passion is. If they're really passionate about getting together as professionals, get them involved in social functions, membership functions at the state level, or even just the county chapter, district level. Find out what they're interested in. I would really like to, I think we need to have more classes on this kind of thing. Well, okay, let's set up some classes at the district level for people to get their continuing education credit, within the areas that you think there's a need. You can find things, I completely agree with Jared. You can find things that people are willing to do for the state, for the local, for the district level, if you can find out what their passions are. If you just plug a person into a job and they're not passionate about it, they're not going to do it very well. But if you can find something that they're really passionate about, then you can find them a role. I'm passionate about membership. So what did I do? I joined the membership committee. You know, you can find your committee, you can find yourself a small job just by knowing what your passions are and running them. So that's what I usually tell people. You know, what are you passionate about? What do you love about the profession? What would you like more people to know about the profession? How can you think you can influence people around you with your passion, and then go from there in that discussion.
So using the passion that you two have, my next question is, how has that passion been ignited or limited in your advancement to your careers? There's always a change when we're going through a change in our lives, such as advancement in career. How has your guys' transition been for that passion? Has it ignited it? Has it dampened it at all since you started your professional careers?
You know, when I started my professional career, and I'm very much still new, you know, I've only been out very short time, you know, less than 2 years, right around 2 years. And if I had to say anything, it really leveled it off. It really leveled my fire off because, you know, hey, welcome to the real world, you know. But it hasn't hindered me any. You know, I still have that desire to be involved. And, you know, most of the people I work with aren't members. And it just, I'll tell them, I'll go on front, I'm a nerd for this, get ready, you know, and they know, hey, they laugh, they listen, and they realize, my manager realizes the benefit of being a member. Then out in the professional field now, in a new professional, hasn't further ignited me and made me more passionate. And it hasn't really dampened it where I don't want to do anything. It's just leveled it off. And it's just kind of like, okay, hey, here's the room, girl. This is what you do now. This is why you went to school. This is why you fall. This is why everything in the house membership, association, this is what this is all about. Every day with your patient. You know, so is that kind of what you were talking about, Sean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's perfect. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, for me, I've been out since June, so 6 months basically, going on 7, I think. So for me, actually, you know, it was tough at the beginning. You know, you get in the real world, you're working 40 hours a week, you have your family responsibilities. To find the time to continue that involvement at the beginning was tough. You know, it was a balancing act. And I was still on the board, so I still had board responsibilities for the last couple of months. And it was this, okay, when do I do this? When do I do this part? I still want to get involved. I just then joined the membership committee of the state, so now I've got this other, it became a big juggling act at the beginning. But it's all part of the learning curve. You know, when you get into school, it's all, okay, when am I taking my classes? Where are the pieces of the puzzle? Now the puzzle all got jumbled up. And you have this foundation, which is your normal work week, and then you have to build everything else on top of that. So for me, it's taken a little bit of time, but with that, I've come to appreciate my involvement just more. You know, I don't have necessarily as much time as I had prior, but the time that I have to spend is so much more important. So it's much more focused on what I'm working on. Working with some members of the state to start working on a student thing. You know, it's a very focused task that can have a large impact across the state. So it's, you know, the passion is still there. It's just, where does that passion get tunneled? You know, it's not going to be all over the place. It's going to be in small singular tasks that can have a big impact instead of something that's more widespread. So it's all learning what you can handle and how you want to use your passions to better serve the community. So.
Okay. Jimmy, you have any more questions?
I I can, in what ways, this will just kind of be a wrap-up for me, a wrap-up question, but in what ways can you guys encourage specifically students, new members, how were you guys, were you guys surprised at all at the ability for you guys to get involved in the association as students, and how can you use that to encourage the current students and kind of get them more exposure to the association?
So my experience as a student was all around opportunity and finding information. And once I found the information and got put in the right place, people, like I said previously, Sean has been a very good mentor to me. Chris here in Kentucky, the PTA rep here in Kentucky, has been a huge mentor for me. And different ones, we just use the PTA Caucus as an example, different ones and members of the caucus and in leadership of it as well, very openly put their arms around me and helped me and made me feel a part. It made me feel like my opinion mattered, and not just made me feel that way, but I truly believe that it did as a student. And that played a tremendous role, that there were people out there that really wanted me to be a part and wanted to help groom me and help me grow and be a part of my professional association. And the largest part really is finding how to get connected. I think it has to start, and I've said this even when I was a student, it was something that I pushed very hard. I went to different student functions and the House of Delegates and different national conferences, CSM and different things, and a lot of people I talked to, I pushed very hard. It begins in the classroom. That's where it starts. We have to get this information. We have to get these channels put in place in the classroom so that people know. Knowledge is power. It absolutely is. Knowledge is power, and knowing how to get a hold of these different avenues and get connected to these opportunities is going to make all the difference in the world for these people to be a part and be active. Because if you don't know what to do, you can't do it. If you don't know how to do it, you can't do it. And that's part of the battle sometimes. Not everybody wants to do it. Not everybody wants to be active, but there are people out there that want to. And if they knew that there was an opportunity, they would very quickly jump on that. So I think that's going to be one large thing is starting early on and getting in the classroom. But once you get started, once you take that step, there's a whole association, there's a whole world out there that wants you to succeed. And knowing and having the understanding that these people are the foundation and are the framework for our professional association, and they want me to succeed. That's amazing. Well, they want us to succeed because they want the profession to succeed. They want the association to succeed. And knowing that you can be grafted into that, it's just amazing, that community that you feel, that you're a part of that. And hey, guess what, guys? This is our association. We are the profession. We help the profession. What would the jobs that we love to do and the things that we went to school for, all those thousands upon thousands of dollars that we spent on education to do what we love to do, all those hours that we spent studying and reading our textbooks and devoting our time and our efforts to learning and crafting ourselves to be able to perform these things, what an investment that is. What an investment of money. What an investment of time. What is all that without the association that guards and protects and lobbies and works to keep that secure? there are so many different avenues out there that would come in and take pieces and take parts of what we love to do and claim it as their own. Well, we've invested too much. Member or not, you have invested too much in yourself and in what you love to do to let that happen. So it is our responsibility, it is our duty to be a member of our professional association. What an investment. Why would you not take that time to make sure all that you have done is taken care of? And that's how I feel about it. And get people plugged in and let them know, hey, protect your investment, protect yourself, and protect your profession. It's not always, I kind of found this out early on, and that it's not always about being active, and doing all these. You need an opportunity. But just to understand the value of membership and get that into people's minds, that will do tremendous things for our association, our profession.
Well said.
Yeah.
Matt?
Thanks, Jared. You make it really hard for me now. I was like, preach, brother. You got it. No, I completely agree. If people aren't shown the door, they don't know they can walk through it. I come from a school that, all the teachers are very involved in the association and none of the students are, because none of the students really understood, the value of what membership actually brings to them. So there has to be one person that walks through the door, that opens it, and then the next person has to follow. So for me, I try to give back. Right now I'm working with the school, so I can do presentations. I'm going to be doing my second presentation at my alma mater here in the next couple of weeks, talking about the transition from graduation into the career and working at a hospital setting. Just trying to show the students that the membership isn't just there for when you're a student, that the membership in the APTA really can bring value to your professional life and can continue to enrich who you are as a professional, not only just as a student, the resources you get there, but the resources you can get on a daily basis when you're working with patients that you've never seen before, especially in a hospital. So it's just trying to educate and show people the path that they can take. Not everybody's going to be involved as some of us are. That's not their avenue. They go into the profession thinking, I want to help people. How can I do that? I'm going to be a PTA, and all they think about is, I'm going to get through school so that way I can begin working as a PTA. They don't think of things on even the local or the state or the national level. They don't think outside of their daily work environment. But the APTA has a place for them too. It can enrich their work life. It can enrich their daily, them going to work on a daily basis, helping their patients. The APTA can enrich every aspect of their interaction between them and their patient. But if you don't show them that information, you don't show them those resources from the minute they're in school and transition into the profession, they don't know that that's a path that they can take. So, education plays a big role in that. I'm trying to play my part in that, as I think all of us are. And the more people learn about what the association can give to them, the more they'll value their membership. It's just that there's just that huge education curve that needs to take place, and so we just got to do our best there. So.
All right, thank you. Just in closing, I wanted to say thank you to Jared and Matt. You guys have done a great job presenting your experiences here. We are thankful for the time you gave us tonight. As I've told you both before, I think you guys are wonderful role models for young PT and PTAs coming out into the workforce, and especially getting involved in the association and at all the levels. I know you both work hard at the chapter and district levels, and you both have made names for yourselves nationally already. And again, I look forward to seeing what you guys do in the future coming up. I think you are going to be wonderful examples of what we can do working together to better the profession. And I thank you guys for your time tonight.
You made me blush.
Anytime, Jared. Anytime. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, guys. Bye.